Hi guys, it's Kim.
And I'm Lola, and welcome back to Turn the Page podcast, where two sisters catch up over books,
Whoa,
reviews,
whoa, whoa. Just calm down. What's going on? Just, where are you running to? There are commas. There's actually commas. There's even a dash.
Get out of me.
Yeah, I'm leaving this shit. Guys, do you know how many times we've tried to record this intro? All right. Okay. All right, Lola. There's dashes and commas, there's spaces, okay? All right. Hi guys, it's Kim.
And I'm Lola, and welcome back to Turn the Page, the podcast where two sisters catch up over books, reviews, all the juicy bits in between.
That's it. What is the plan for today?
So today, Kim will run through a quick recap of the episode before. And then we'll have top points part 2, and then we will end off with pick a mix.
Oh, nice. So, like Lola says, we are still talking about The Will of the Many by James Islington. And if you are a first-time listener, please note you don't have to have read the book or even be a reader to enjoy our catch-ups. You can just enjoy the ride. But it would be good if you listened to the first episode, because that was part 1. And this is part 2. You won't understand anything if you don't listen to the first part. And where can they find us, Lola?
You can find us at YouTube at turn.the.page.podcast. Should be a link in the episode so you can find us.
And remember, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram at turnthepage.pod. And like Lola says, now on YouTube. So make sure you follow us on all platforms so that you can get all of the content. All right, let's get into it. So a recap of what we were talking about in the first part. We've got Viz, who basically my phrase is poor Viz, because he's going through it, pulled from pillar to post. You've got old Keyscore, who's saying he needs to go to the academy to be a spy, but then we find out it's just to basically avenge or find out what happened to his dead brother, C-Raw. And we've also got Sadochia, that is trying to get him into this revolutionary army, or what should we call, maybe a terrorist army, I don't know what we should call them. And she wants him to go
insurgency, or whatever they would call them.
So she needs him to go to the academy. So everybody needs him to go to the academy. That's the gist of the story. Everybody needs him to go to the academy, but all for different people's reasonings. So this part is Viz getting to the academy, and we've all had that chaos already. And he was outside the academy. So can you imagine what's going to happen whilst he's in the academy? At least maybe he'll get some time to chill. He does get some time to chill at least. He makes some friends. He he gets to bed. He gets to lay his head. But it does ramp up from this part onwards. So I think we should get on to it. Plot point. Alrighty, we're now into part 2. So, Viz makes it to the academy, where he starts to feel the effect of what he did in the Naumachia, because a school doctor comes up to him to thank him for saving his sister who survived. And I think at this point when I was just like, oh shit, like he actually saved lives. Like, because I was just like, why is...
So just out of interest, what did you think happened?
What I thought happened was that the water drained from this place, this arena. This guy was in the middle, or he rose up on some sort of platform and he was in the middle.
Yeah.
Viz got to him. I didn't think about how he got to him. I thought there were bombs going off doing some madness. I don't know how he got to his side, and he had this dagger to his throat. That's where I got to. As I explained it is how I visualized it.
Literally none of the collapsing of the...
Yeah, obviously there was some chaos because there was bombs.
Okay.
But in my head,
I thought... But the bombs were outside. There were bombs, because remember the Angus were
also
attacking outside. But
I didn't even think about Angus attacking from the outside. I thought it was just him.
Okay, so you didn't get no magic.
Inside.
Like...
No.
Oh, interested. Okay.
That's why I'm just like... That's why I was so confused. I was like, why is everybody calling him the Copernicus? Like, as in, guys, like, he's like, everybody thinks he's a hero. Like, outside of school, inside of school, he's considered he's a hero because he saved lives.
Because the guy was displaying something so foreign that no one knew what to do, and it just caused chaos and confusion.
Yeah, I do get that, because they kept talking about the weapons he used and the way he did it. They did cause a madness. So Yes, so very see my notes again. I said very. His name is Viridius. Okay, guys. I apologize. If I start if I start abbreviating these people, I apologize. That's the way I did my notes. So Viridius turns up to take Viz to his dorm and lets Viz know he wants Olkiescore. He knows Olkiescore has sent him to the academy for something, but he insists that Olkiescore is wrong. And he hasn't done anything, but he understands that Viz has to do what he has to do. And at this point, I was with Viridius because I know there's some Viridius is probably not a good guy, but also Okisco's not a good guy either. So, and it was almost like Viridius was like, I feel bad that you're being put through this because of something that Okisco has an issue with. This is when I started to kind of semi like Viridius, but although
No.
he does do some nonsense later on. So he does make a slight dig and asks Viz if he prefers to be called Viz or Copernicus, and asks Viz to not talk too much about what happened outside. He'd also told Iqua to not talk about it either. So he informs Viz that there have been talks about putting him in a higher class because of what happened. But Viz says he wants to start at the bottom and make his way up from class 7. And this is where we'll pause. I know the first episode, I said I was going to talk a bit more about classes later. This is where we're going to talk about it. So the classes go up from 7 to 3, with the bulk of the kids being in class 3. Then as you go up, the amount of students in each class reduces. So at the moment, there are only 6 in class 3. So these 6 then compete in the Eutychium. And if you think about it, it's still trying to do that structure of the pyramid. I guess it's supposed to ensure that it's not a shock to them when they go outside. Like, this is the pyramid in school, and when you go out, it's outside as well, like that. The other thing to note is that the classes do get harder. The preceptors, aka teachers, are better. The classes are better. The dorms are better as you elevate. So it's almost like I said, like the real world. Okay, and also I will probably be going in between teachers and preceptors. They're the same thing. Lola's face. What's up? Are you like how to pronounce preceptors? That's how you pronounce it, baby girl. I'm Roman. I know Roman. It's preceptors.
Yeah, it's Latin.
Mm-hmm.
Roman.
Shitty bitch. Do you know what? Because I was saying it and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not what the language is called. But yeah, just looking at me. You know, I'll edit it and I'm going to take your bit. So when I'm saying
No.
it is Roman, I will be like, it's Latin.
I'm still trying to find a pronunciation. How did you know it's how to pronunciate though?
The preceptors.
And how come it's not precepts? Because that's where you get it from.
It's not. It's pre. Sorry. It's like that. Preceptors.
Because of the AE.
Yeah, it's preceptors. Alrighty, back to the summary. Back to the story. So Viridius takes... The other thing is, Lola, this is probably why. It's because I listened to an audiobook. That's probably also why I know how to pronounce everything.
Yeah.
So that's probably what helps.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad, okay? Viridius takes Viz to the class 7 dorm. And this is where we meet our baby boy, Calidus. And we always have a baby boy in these stories. I remember that first book with what was it called? What's the name of the book? That one. Or is it, what was the name of the baby boy there? The guy that was just mashed up the vampire.
I can't remember, but I know who we're talking about.
But yeah, so there's always a baby boy. So Calidus is a baby boy.
But the dad started with a V as well, didn't it?
Vincent.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, he's Vincent. So Viridius asks why. So we meet Calidus, who is in the library. Viridius asks him why isn't he at dinner, and Calidus says that he's going over something from class. So Viridius orders Calidus to go to dinner and take Viz with him, and we find out that Calidus was hiding because he had been threatened by Iden. When they turn up to dinner, Calidus explains the lay of the dinner hall and basically explains, the different tables, and this is where class 7 sits, class 6, blah, blah, blah. And at least Viz gets to get a visual of what all the classes look like. And they're talking when Iden comes up to them and threatens Calidus. So at this point, Viz intervenes. They get into a scrap. Viz punches Iden, who is actually a 6th. And this means trouble because you're not supposed to attack somebody in a class above you. Amisa and Indo, they're actually in class 3, by the way. They come up, they try to defend Viz when a Praeceptor turns up, but Viz still gets taken away because he has punched somebody in a higher class. So they're in in Viridius's room, in the principal's room, and Viz apologizes to Aiden. He does what do they call it? The 3 apologies or something. There's something that he does.
Yeah, it gets him to accept his apology or something 3 times or something like that.
Yeah. So, and the way he's doing it, he's basically through gritted teeth, he's just like, I'm going to kill these people with kindness. Like, I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not getting expelled for this. I'm going to kill him with kindness. He needs to take my apology. So, Viz apologizes to Aiden, because he could actually insist, because he's in a higher class, he can actually insist for his expulsion. So he apologizes. And this is also where we find out that Aiden isn't a native Catalan. He's actually an immigrant. So Aiden kind of reluctantly accepts the apology, but Viz still does get punished. And his punishment is cleaning out the horse stables every evening. I think it's like for 2 months or something mad like that. Viz goes back to the 7th dorm where he finds that Callidius isn't thankful for Viz stepping in.
Why do you keep adding it? Yes, Callidius.
It's true. Because I've just got it in my notes as Cal.
To be honest.
my homeboy Cal.
I thought you just...
So I don't even know his full name. So I'm just like, Cal.
I like how Equa doesn't get one. So she don't get no nickname.
Yeah, she'll get it. It's true, actually. I call her Equa throughout my notes. So Cal isn't thankful for Viz stepping in, saying that this will just make him a bigger target, and that Viz... And I think the other thing was... And I thought this was a valid point, and it's also something that you see in a lot of these kind of scenarios where somebody steps in to help the weaker person, and it's just to show off. It is low-key to show off that they can step in. So I was like, yeah, you're making the valid point, because he says to him, you've made me a bigger target and you were just using this as a chance to show off.
To look good, yeah.
We find out that students don't like Calidus because they feel that his father got him into class 3, but he did so badly that he got demoted to 7. We will get into Calidus's story as we go on. Like his explanation, and I know you probably clocked this, but his explanation of his rank or where he is in the school, what's going on, he just gradually gives Viz more like telling a lie, but it's just, we just tell us the truth. We get to the end, we find
it's so obvious, and even Viz is all right, whatever, it must be whatever.
There'll be times where he's just like, Calidus will be like, can I just tell you something? And he'll be like, okay. He tells him the story, and then Viz is just like, and I didn't pry any further. I just took it as is. Because also Viz is hiding stuff. But he knows that Calidus isn't giving him the real tea. So he's just like, you know what? If that's what you want to tell yourself, I will take that. Viz then runs into Equa the next day, who implies, and you know how we said about Equa side-eyeing him all the time, she actually implies that Viz's actions at the Naumachia were dodgy. She's a bit like, how did you know where to go? Like, where did you go? Like, you said you're going to the toilet, you were gone for ages. Like, so she's questioning him. And like we said earlier, the way she was questioning was kind of just like, okay, I'll take your answer and I will question you again, and as she walks away side-eyeing him the whole time. She does though acknowledge the fact that he did save her life. Go on.
So at this point, Amisa's given Viz this truth serum water, and Equa is a son of the daughter of Wukiskor's enemy, and basically clear plants. Who side are you picking? Amisa versus Equa.
This point?
At this point.
Okay. At this point, I like Amisa over Equa. At this point.
Both bugs me, but Amisa seemed harmless.
Yeah.
Like I thought I could defeat her if I needed to more than Equa. Equa she was asking too many of the right questions.
Yeah. I also see, I didn't hate Equa because
same.
She is looking at it like, this is strange.
Logic. Yeah, she was using logic.
Yeah. And to be fair, Emisa, I don't know if we got to the stable bit. I think Lola's
She's too airy fairy and she's too quick to
she's
be nice.
yeah, like even when he stepped in to help Calidus, she stepped in to like protect him against the
Yeah, yeah,
Praeceptor.
yeah.
And you know, he just
And
like you
even
don't know him
everyone
like
was
that.
like,
You're in class
"Whoa, you're
three.
class three." Yeah,
Yeah, he's class seven. Why are you stepping in to protect him?
some
So this
orphan that
even
no one knows
then
from nowhere.
I did think, oh, like why are you are dodgy as well. They were both
Yeah,
dodgy, in
I
my
thought
opinion here.
very. Like, look at me using very.
Meridius.
I thought Viridius did the same thing that that set like was like, oh, because she's I don't think you've explained that, but Amisa's supposed to be really beautiful,
Mm,
so I think he was trying to use that as like a honey trap to try
yeah,
and
like
find
put
out what
her.
Okisuko's real plan is.
Yeah. Put her there. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, guys. Amisa's supposedly really beautiful. She's. I haven't actually talked about how these people look at all. In my head, Calidus is blonde.
Not in my head. He's a brunette in
In my
my
head,
head.
he's blonde with like a bowl cut.
Yeah, we've got the hair and glasses.
No, I don't have
I've got
glasses.
glasses. He's very skinny and he's quite tall in my head.
Oh no, he's short in my head.
Interesting.
For
Interesting.
Calidus. But yes. So, where was I? I've got a couple more minutes of this bit. Viz runs into Equa, blah, blah. She's questioned him, but she acknowledges that he did save her life. But as she's a fourth, she says that I can't be seen talking to a seventh. And this is like we said about Amisa. It's
This
weird
is
that
when I
she's
was like, yeah.
outwardly talking to him when she's a third. So
Mm,
I was
mm.
just like, when I read this, I was just like, it's true. So did Amisa and Indo come
And
over?
yeah, Amisa goes out of her way to publicly talk to him as
Mm.
well. Yeah,
So I was
it's
like,
very
oh, that's
true.
interesting. So Viz's first class is a shit show. The class is easy and nobody's actually paying attention. Like nobody in the class is paying attention. He sees Calidus reading a more advanced book in the class, but he's not contributing. So he's a bit like, okay, this is odd because I know you're smart. So why aren't you getting involved? So Viz's plan is that he knows he's aware that he needs to get to the next class. So he's answering questions, he's getting involved with the class, which, oh, bless that poor preceptor. She's actually quite excited. She's like, oh my gosh, somebody's listening. So she's like firing questions at him.
Yeah, finally I can
She's like,
teach.
in it. She's like, I'm going to give you a quiz later. This is fantastic. So at lunch, Calidus finally apologizes to Viz, explaining that Viridius shouldn't have paired Viz up with him because it's not good for him. Just because Calidus's dad has done some things in the Senate which have made his family unpopular with other families. So after lunch, the preceptor for class 7 gives Viz a test, and then after class, he heads to the stables where good old Amisa rocks up, like we were saying. So she rocks up and she's talking to him, semi-flirting, or maybe it's not really flirting at this point, but she's, strutting her stuff, helping him clean out the stable. And even Viz is a bit like, why is she helping me? But he does appreciate the fact that she's attractive and she's talking to him. She advises him that if he wants to advance, he needs to impress the preceptor of each class, but he should be aware that the preceptor for 6 is not easy. Daltatis, as he doesn't like non-Catenan students. So we can see the
There's always
attraction
one teacher
brewing
like that
in it
definitely
every
shouldn't be a
time.
teacher.
Every time. Like, this is mad. So we can see the attraction brewing a bit between Viz and Amisa. We find out that Amisa wasn't in the stables on punishment. So he thinks she's there for punishment. It's not until the end where she's just like, oh, I wasn't here for punishment. I just wanted to come talk to you and I felt guilty. So that's why I came to her. And I was like, what do you feel guilty for doing? And I think she said something about she felt guilty for not stepping in. I was like, yeah, but according to Equa, you shouldn't have because you're a third. Why would you step
No
into
one
something
expects
between
you
the
to.
sixth and the
Yeah,
seventh?
yeah.
So that's why
Even
I was a bit like,
Calidus was like, "What are you doing?"
yeah, just like we don't step in for each other, we just get beat up. So that happens. She heads off, and when Viz heads back to the dorm, he is told, pack your shit up, baby boy, you're moving on up to 6. So at breakfast, Viz goes to sit with the 6 students, but they air him, obviously. So he ends up sitting with Calidus and they toast to the pariah table because, they're not wanted anywhere. So even though class 6 is supposed to be a high grade, it isn't actually more difficult for Viz. But he does have an ultimate hater in this class called the Praeceptor Deltatus. And Deltatus isn't really keen on teaching Viz. He doesn't like Viz, and we know it's because he doesn't like non-Catenan people. So Viz keeps up his friendship with Calidus and Amisa, keeps coming to the stables in the evening to help him. So they're developing their friendship there. And at some point, they start to get training in the labyrinth. So as you go up in the class levels, you get more and more time in the labyrinths because that is what you need for the Eudokium at the end. So class 3 get to train every day. Class 6, it's not as often. So the way it works here is that, and hopefully I make sense because this whole thing was a bit confusing to me. So the way it works is that one student will run the labyrinth. So they're in the labyrinth trying to get to the end, whilst the other student stands on a platform where they can see the labyrinth, they can see the student, and they're directing the first student using codes. And they manipulate something called a bracer, which helps in regards to how they can get through the maze. You're going to have other students in the labyrinth who their aim is to catch the runner as well. So Viz is paired up with Aiden. And remember, he got into that fight at the beginning with Aiden, so they're not really on good terms at the moment. So the first time round, Viz was the runner, and Aiden was the one that was explaining how to get through the maze, but he wasn't paying attention to what Viz was doing. He wasn't really like helping Viz to get through. So the second time round, they switch places, and Aiden's running the maze whilst Viz is doing the commands. So they start, and then Viz clocks that Aiden doesn't actually understand what he's saying. So he tries to start speaking Chimerian, and we find out this works because Aiden is Chimerian and his actual Catenan isn't that great. So using this, they were able to get through and they win the labyrinth. But good old Tartus is like, you guys are cheating. You were cheating, because you're speaking another language, which this is silly. This is obviously because he doesn't like non-Catenans. But I did think, I was just like, no, but it's code. If nobody else can understand it, that's not their problem. Because Chimerian is considered a dead language because obviously when the Catenans came, they got rid of all the Chimerians. So it's considered one of the dead languages. So this pisses Viz off. And he's like, okay, we need to figure out another way to get this done. After class, he's at lunch with Calidus, who basically is telling Viz, like, look, you need to calm down. Life isn't fair. You think that the world is going to take in the effort you put in and reciprocate, but you know that this is a pyramid structure. You know this world isn't fair, so you need to play the game. So Viz takes this on board and he's just like, yeah, fair. That does make sense. In the evening, Viz decides he needs to sneak out to investigate the ruins, as he's aware he needs to have some sort of results because there's going to be a family holiday coming up. You know, these people like festivals. There's a holiday coming up, and this is where he's going to meet Olkiskor. So he wants to be able to give him something from his time in the academy. So Viz heads to the ruins, and this is another place where I feel the descriptions probably weren't the best. He heads to the ruins.
The cemetery.
Yeah, the ruins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen things better described.
I mean, it wasn't the best, but I didn't think it was bad.
I actually could visualize what it's not.
Yeah, I could visualize. Okay. I was picturing like a quiet, misty kind of hilly place, and it's like you could tell it's the graves that are old and ruined, and then it gets into like really grand structures and crypts and you know, like just a whole. I was just picturing just a vast amount of like the whole place was like a cemetery basically, and like some had big mini what's that thing? Not like a church, but like a mini. You know, sometimes you see them in where
it's not a cemetery though, it's ruins.
It's not. It's ruins, yeah.
So that's why I was a bit like, okay, it's ruins, and then there's like a chamber that he goes into. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like his description stuff. But yeah. So Viz heads to the ruins, where he finds a chamber that's lined with bodies that are mutilated. And
oh, sorry, I thought I have not where we are. I was talking about the cemetery. Literally the cemetery.
It's in the festival, bro. That's what
because you said that's what. Sorry. You're talking about.
I'm like, Viz heads to the ruins.
Sorry. That's what's like the black place is well described. You're talking about
because that's all
actual...
nice and but no, I'm talking about the chamber.
Okay, so this bit, I did think it was okay. So I pictured a dome, and then there's like layers of like people that look like Lannister, just around there. Because remember, they start whispering when he touches something or he does something.
Yeah,
they start telling him. So then he goes down in the middle of this. Yeah, so I'm picturing in the middle is the setup, and then he does whatever there. Like, what did they say? Because someone just appears, isn't it?
Let me explain. Let me go through it.
Sorry, yeah.
So he finds a chamber with lion bodies that are mutilated, and this is where you have like the voices filling the room, repeating the words, Obitium is lost. Do not open the gate. Synchronous is death. Obitium is lost. Do not open the gate. Synchronous is death. And this is where he's like clocking all these corpses. They open their eyes and they are empty.
Is that the audio book? Because I was saying Obitium.
It's like Obitium is lost. Do not open the gate. And they repeat it and repeat. And I was like, I had to look at the book. I was like, did they actually say it this many times? but yes, so that's why I've got it. It's like Obitium. So they open their eyes and they are empty, like Lannister. And this instance, Viz is like, whoa, what the fuck is this? He's like, nah, I'm not here for this. He runs away, but he does trip an alarm, which alerts Viridius, who comes to investigate. So Viridius is there with another man. I think this is some guy called Marcus. I think he's like the vice principalist or something. And they're going around trying to find out what tripped the alarm, like what's going on. Viridius says to the man, go to the dorms. Like, if somebody's come here, they must have left the dorms. And I think he also says kind of like, go to dorm 6. Or does he make it obvious like he was questioning for Viz?
Yeah, I think, yeah. He said something that made Viz think, I am not going to beat them.
Yeah. So he's just like, shit, I need to go. So Viz rushes back. He's able to get back. He climbs the wall to his room and ends up cutting his hand in the process. So he's like bleeding out.
Sorry, before you go on, the description of that place. Okay, so I pictured, because he has to go through the woods. He climbs over the wall of the academy. And so I know where you're at. So I was... when I was talking about the cemetery, I was completely talking about a different place in the book, guys. Ignore that if she doesn't edit it out. So when I'm talking, what the setup is, he sneaks out of bed. He's like, oh, I need to get something for my papa before he kills me. So he sneaks out of bed. Aiden notices, but we don't know this at the time. And he goes, no, Aiden was, I can't remember how, I think they were awake or something, because he waited for them to go to sleep. I think he waited. Yeah.
He was waiting.
Because as you go up in classes, you get more luxurious rooms, less people. So when in class, the lowest class, they were in basically a dormitory where there was a bunch of them. The higher up you get, the more privacy you've got. So now he only has 2 roommates. So he waits for them to go sleep. Jumps out the window again, sneaks out, and then he jumps over the wall. This is a very hard wall to scale. He manages to do it without using will. He manages to do it. That again was something that how the hell was he gonna get back, which obviously when he escapes back, Kim will touch on it. So he jumps over. What I've seen is there's a jungle, so it's straight after the academy is a jungle, right? And then all of a sudden there's a clearing in the jungle. This is what I'm picturing, a circular clearing in the jungle. And so because I think when he ran away, there's a line of vision, because he didn't want to move, so he had to stay somewhere where there was like some kind of cover. So what I'm picturing is there's a dense jungle, then all of a sudden there's a clearing.
Okay.
Because he was stock still. That's how he was able to hear all that information about, oh, go search here and go search there. Yeah. Because he couldn't run away. And that's why he was like, he was trying to estimate how much time he needed. So a clearing, and then it's not obvious still how big. I don't think what's inside looks obvious from outside. So I'm picturing it's like the top of the iceberg you see from outside, and then he got inside, and then you see like I guess that was the top of the dome, and then he sees the rest of the bodies lining it. So I'm seeing him descending when he gets inside.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
And he's going down, and then it's like the center's like, again, I'm picturing like a Colosseum. So the center's like the middle stage, but then in that, one of the arches leads to an underground bunker. This is what I'm seeing, like an underground maze.
Okay.
Because remember, he goes down it and there's all these writings on the walls and all of that stuff. So these are now tunnels that are veering away. This is what I'm seeing.
From where?
From this structure. Because he has to run back. And I think there's a set of language he understood, but then there was languages after that he completely didn't understand. Yeah, so I'm just picturing these are tunnels going. So that's how. So I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the description of that. I was really like, my heart was beating. I was just like, this is too much to risk for Oki's call. Especially because, so like I was saying, when he's trying to escape, he comes back because he tripped something. And he realizes people are coming. So he was just about to escape, but he wasn't able to escape enough to get back. So he's hiding somewhere, listening to all of this. But then when he gets back and then he jumps over the fence, he hurts himself. This is the bit I didn't really understand. So you're right here, because I don't understand how he beat them. Because as he's telling you, he's
says
just telling
to them,
you
he can't.
The whole time.
He's like, I don't know how I'm going to get back before them. And so he gets back before them. And so he gets back to the room, cutting his hand in the process, and Aiden is still up. He's studying when Viz comes back.
You said still up. That's why I asked that in the beginning. Was he, because he was asleep, that bit as well. All of a sudden, he's wide awake studying. But then, obviously, that's because of the language thing. But I don't know. That was a bit of a cheap one. But it was cute. I love that moment. Love Aiden. Okay. But all of a sudden, he's just up. So that's why I think he was always up, and he knew he was just pretending to sleep.
Yeah, probably. I guess doesn't really matter. He's up. So he's up when Viz comes back. And when Viz just jumps into bed just to hide, like wraps up his arm, jumps into bed. And when they come through to search the room, Aiden is basically like, I've been up this whole time, sir, and doesn't actually make it obvious that Viz has gone out. Which also, I was a bit like, well, if you are looking for a student who you think, well, I guess Aiden didn't look like he had been running through anywhere. So I guess that probably is what was able to get him away with that. The next day, Viz has to deal... That's what I
thought. Why are they suspicious of Aiden?
Exactly. That's what I was like, yeah, but Aiden's up. But
at that point, I thought Aiden was in their pockets. So I thought, is that why?
Oh, no. I just thought it through logically. And I was just like, well, he doesn't look mash up. He doesn't look dirty. He's probably not breathing like heavy. Yeah,
because they were looking for someone that looked disheveled.
Yeah, so he was probably in his pajamas or whatever and just like chilling there. So next day, Viz has to deal, because obviously you've got this cut on his hand. He needs to figure out a way to deal with it. So he decides that he's going to stage a fall with a kitchen knife, which will allow him to get into the infirmary so that he can get treated. And surprisingly, it works. He basically trips down the stairs or bumps into another student whilst holding a knife. And then obviously the blood's gushing out and people are like, oh my gosh, what the fuck? Like, you've hurt yourself. So this is allowing him to get to the infirmary where he's able to get treated. But the person that's treating him, the doctor's looking at him like, oh, you did this with a kitchen knife? You sure? But he gets treated. He's able to get away with it. We get some further insight into why Calidus is in 7th, because at breakfast, when Viz comes back. So Calidus says that his dad is powerful but unpopular because he's part of the governance pyramid and he's in the census. And Calidus's dad is worried about a potential civil war between the military, governance, and religion. And Calidus's dad is worried that Calidus will be a bargaining chip for religion. So Calidus decided he's going to be a mediocre son who is considered less valuable. Like we said earlier, Calidus's story will continue to give Viz more and more little details about why he's in Car 7. At this point, I was just like, okay, all right.
I didn't really care. I'm so stressed out about Viz and what he had to do. Like, you don't want to tell us. You don't want to. And this is what Viz is. He's like, all right, whatever, mate.
Just every time drip feeding and it's basically just drip feeding why he's in 7th. That's all it is. Just tell us why you're in 7th.
At one point, I was like, Viz, press it, man. And at one point, you know what, Viz? Yeah.
Viz,
If you don't want to
Viz
tell
is
me, you
probably
don't
like, I
want to tell
don't
me.
care. Like, I've got to
Literally.
survive for Oki score.
Keep trying to hint, but not hint. Like, what's
And
going
I
on?
actually don't care. So carrying on, we see Aiden, because obviously Aiden helped Viz at that point. So Aiden and Viz's friendship starts to develop, and like Lola says, they get their little bromance growing. And because Viz can speak Chimerian, it helps Aiden. So they basically talk to each other in Chimerian, which allows Aiden to become more ingrained. Viz thanks Aiden for lying for him when he snuck out. And we also get a bit more detail about how Aiden feels about everything, because he's basically like, I was happy to help you because I hate the tenants. That's the gist. I wasn't helping you because of any other reason.
And sorry, up until this point, Viz had never met anyone that had felt similar to him, because Viz has this whole ramble in the background about the Republic and how it's bad. This is why I say it's a microcosm of today. But he has a whole rambling about how it's control and blah blah blah, and then you finally meet someone that feels similar to him. Obviously Calidus does on some level, but he's of the fact that he's a determinist. He's rather like, what will be, might as well play the game rather than trying to outsmart it. But you can see more of a rebellious side with Aiden and Viz, more of a fighting spirit.
Does he at this point end up opening up about working for the military to find out what religion is up to Aiden, or no? Because I think it is, and this is where Aiden kind of is like, I don't agree with what you're doing, because he also, remember, doesn't like the Republic, but he's just like, I'll support where I can as long as you teach me Katana.
Yeah, he tells Aiden very early on, which I was like, yes, and I was actually proud of him for choosing to confide in Aiden rather than Calidus.
Yeah. Because Calidus isn't even giving them the information, so he's probably just like, you ain't gonna give me any information.
Full sentences. Yeah,
then I ain't giving you any information. We get to the Festival of the Ancestors. So Viz heads to the necropolis where the festival is being held. He heads there with Iqua, Amisa, and some other students, whilst Calidus remains at school. And I believe they go with a preceptor as well. So they come out of the Transvect, I guess, at the station, and they're mobbed by the public, who is still calling Viz the Copernicus. They're like thankful. Some people are really thankful for what he did. Like they're like throwing themselves on him, and he's basically getting like moved around in the crowd and helped by the preceptors that are trying to get him through. Okisco meets Viz.
Because Viz had been in the academy straight. He went straight to the academy. He woke up in the academy after the incident. So he's no concept of how the public,
how everybody feels about
interpreted
him.
Yeah, so he can get a gist of it from the academy, because everyone knew who he was in the academy, but these are teenagers. He didn't know how the whole Republic felt. So this is the first time, and he realized he's like this mini celebrity.
So Okisco meets Viz, and they head up to the Telemus family mausoleum, which, if I haven't edited it out, is where Lola went off on a tangent about. And they get a chance to talk alone. So Okisco is pissed off that Viz hasn't gotten any higher. And I'm like, just give him a chance.
My heart is beating for the guy. He's doing a lot straight away, because I thought he was moving too reckless. Like, find out the lay of the land. What are you doing?
Wait a little bit. You just got to school. So he's pissed off that he's not any higher. And Viz is like, look, I get what you're saying, but I'm in a class with a preceptor who hates me. He's not going to allow me to get any further up in my class. So he's just like, Okisco, please help me out with Doltatis. Okisco's kind of just like, we'll see what we can do. And even
in the beginning, he said, no, this is why I picked you.
Oh, did he?
You figure it out for yourself. I was like, bruh, who is this for?
I thought he offers...
And then, no. Then I think he had to twang him into getting him to help somewhat. He's like, but this, I've tried my best. I think he gave him some kind of information. He's like, I'm doing what I can. And he's like, but listen, come on, you got to give me something. Because I think that's when Okisco was trying to G-check him. Like, listen, I know you got that fan reaction, right? That from the crowd right there, but just humble yourself, boy. Like, you ain't doing nothing for me. Like, I will kill you tomorrow.
Just every chance he gets. So like Lola said, to be fair, even in my notes he says it's like later on that he does get the support from him. So he Viz does explain what he found in the ruins, and he's thinking like, look, this is some tea. Like, you don't know that there are these corpses with no eyes repeating language over and over again. You don't know that. I found that out. You wouldn't have known that. But like we said, Orkisco's not having it. He basically tells him about himself. He's like, this isn't enough. You need to do better. And Viz is like, okay, fine. Like, I need to go look at the ruins more because remember he went in but didn't go in, and he's like, I require some tools. Like, I'm gonna need something to help me do better in there. So Orkisco finally relents, and he's like, do you know what? I'll look into it. This festival of the ancestors is kind of like a there's a Latin festival, kind of like Day of the Dead, where you like it's like a memorial thing where everybody like talk, it's about the ancestors. You all come together as a family to celebrate the people that have passed. Orkisco's parents have arrived, and Orkisco's wife arrives, who turns out to be very familiar to Viz because Reliquia, aka Orkisco's wife, is actually Sedocia, the woman who is part of the Anguis, who's been stressing out Viz since this beginning.
Sorry, they have been trickling the wife throughout, and I keep thinking, okay, I don't give a damn. Like, is she going to be someone in the story?
Yeah, they keep saying like, oh, she's coming. She's coming.
She's a smart woman. Oh, she's bubbly. She's this, she's that. So it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. It's cool. He's got a wife. Like, oh, yes, there's going to be some comedic effect when she has to deal with this adopted son. Okay, okay. They keep trickling it through for them to drop it on us and it to be her. I said, actually,
yeah, I was shocked. Like, I didn't think it at all. I was not thinking that. I just thought Sedocia was a different person, but yeah.
Literally, so, I was like, what are we doing here? Because they kept saying, okay, when you get to this, what's this thing called? When they went to this thing, whenever you go to this Day of the Dead thing, we're gonna call it that for the purposes. You're gonna meet the wife. That was a big thing. You have to impress her. You didn't get high enough. This isn't gonna be good. And it's like, okay. So now is she in on it? And it's like, no, she doesn't know anything.
Yeah, she doesn't know anything. Yeah.
I was like, okay, so what's going on? Like, it's okay.
Yeah. So I'll probably use both, but I will try to keep it as Reliquia when we see her acting in her Reliquia role, and Sedocia when she's being, badass Sedocia. So Reliquia hugs him. She's doing the whole affectionate ditzy wife thing while she's whispering warning. She's like, Liz, if you act up, I'm gonna fuck you up. That's basically what she's whispering in his ear. She hugs him. And then she like pulls back and she's like, oh my gosh, I have a son. I was stressed for Viz. I was so stressed for him. So she's like, okay, Viz, let's go take a walk around the necropolis, just so that we could like catch up. And everybody's like, oh, that's such a good idea.
Because she's quite warm and bubbly and like extroverted. Everyone's just taking it as he's kind of put off by how over the top she is. Yeah.
So she takes her. She's like, "Let's go have a walk." And he's just like, "Okay, let's go," because he is shocked. Like, I think he's like, just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, does anybody know who this is? So they go for a walk around the mausoleum, and this is where she informs him, like, we need you to do better. And I was just like, for crying out loud.
It's just like, you're not doing enough.
So you see my hand? I've got mash up, trying to do better. You guys don't rate me. So she's like, we need you to get to class 3. We need you also to win the Eutychium and become top student. So Orkisco is basically like, all I need you to do is find out why my brother died. But she's like, no, we need you to become the top student in this school. So he's like, say what? So he's pissed off because now he's getting frustrated because obviously Orkisco just told him off. You've got this one, like, being 2 different people, telling him he needs to do better. So he's just like, okay, what's all this about? And especially the Naumachia where Esteban's death occurred, everything's going on. And for Viz, he's like, look, I just want to become the top student so that I can request a high position outside of the public where I won't have to cede my will, because he wants to go to Jatia, like Lola explained in episode 1. So he asks about the rationale behind the Anguis. Like, what are you guys actually trying to do here? And are you going to get rid of the will system? Like, are you going to help people? And she's like, yeah, we plan to remove the government and start afresh. But to Viz, that's just saying, like, you just don't want this power, but you want another person to be in power. So he's kind of looking at her like, I'm not about the Anguis either. You guys aren't the good guys either. So
His
they
problem
walk.
is the system, not the who's in power.
Exactly. It's just like you're just removing one person to put another person in charge. So they walk back to the family, and this is where you overhear Okisko's dad basically telling Okisko and Lannister, oh, because Lannister is here, by the way, to stop this whole thing. And he's
Like,
basically
it's
like,
obvious
look,
what you're doing.
like
That's
this
how
is
obvious it
crazy.
is.
He's like, I know we're really upset about Roar, where we're sad that he died in the school, but this is madness. You've now dragged this poor kid out of the slums. You've adopted him. You forced him to go to the school to find out what, like, you guys, you're bad as each other. You're not helping. Stop it. And he basically just feels bad for Viz because he knows Viz is in a dangerous situation. So then
Because
we're
Okisko is not as obvious yet. He doesn't care if he basically
mm,
dies as long as he finds this out. That's the
mm,
level of he's not ever planning for this to actually survive, to be honest.
mm.
I think
And to be fair, he says it
Lannister
in
basically says
before.
it at one point. Yeah, he did say it.
He
He
says it,
wasn't
yeah.
hiding it, but I don't think Viz didn't know what he was walking into. Yeah? Viz
Mm,
definitely did. And that's why everyone pities Viz, because they can
mm,
see this guy's just Viz clearly doesn't know how mad Okisko is about
about his
Cyril. So
brothers, yeah.
yeah, even the dad pitied him, like looking at him like an animal going, a lamb going to slaughter, kind of
Yes,
thing.
yes. And even the wife, his mum's basically like, there's no point talking to you. You're not going to stay alive
Mm,
for long
mm.
anyways. As in Reliquia and Viz are walking up and they hear this conversation and she kind of like gets into Reliquia mode. And it looks like this is something she has to do because Lola says she's like warm and bubbly. She seems to have to do this all the time where she's able to like calm down the vibe because it was getting tense. So she plays that ditzy wife and just like, hi guys, I had such a great walk with Viz, blah, blah. And it seems to calm the tension. So moving on, we
Sorry.
have
Also, at the Festival of Ancestors, we got to learn quite a bit about Viz because he has been trickling in his past every now and again, but very minimally. He just refers to the fact that he was from royalty straight off the bat kind of thing. But here, I think he reflects more about what happened on the beach and how they were stripped of their royalty and why he feels like deep cowardice because of the circumstances. I think the Festival of Ancestors, that's what it was called. The Festival of Ancestors was something that I can't remember, but he goes into deep reflection and we actually get to learn more about Diago rather than Viz, who Viz is now. So I thought that was quite good to get some background.
because he does a little flashback, isn't it, to some of the things that happened to him. Yeah, it's true. Editing Kim here. So this part is where Lola's going to explain how Viz makes it to the second ruins and also gets to the transvect, the last transvect, so he can get to the academy on time so that he's not expelled from school. Laura's going to explain this bit because she explains it so much better than I would ever explain it. I basically cut out why I did because it wouldn't make no sense to you guys. So back to it.
When he came to the Festival of Ancestors, the teacher told him the transvect is going to leave every hour on certain hours. And I think they basically said at a certain time, because of the atmosphere that Viz creates, they were like, oh, let me know and I can help or whatever with what ship you're going on. The plan was, because even I was like, okay, what's the plan here? Well, the plan was he'll have like these coupled magnets things, and he would put one on the inside of the transvect and one on the outside, and it needed to be strong enough to suck him up. And so like he can ride the outside of the magnet from the inside. When he's going, he went on the very first, because obviously remember he went with a bunch of people. I don't know if we said that, but he went with I can't remember who he went
like
with.
Amisa.
Yeah. Amisa, and she was like on the way there. It was like on a school trip, sitting next to him gossiping, and Equal was again doing that Columbo thing.
Give us side eye.
Oh yeah, so at the thing, how did you do this? So that was on the way there. On the way back, they were planning to ride back together. Viz snuck out and took one of the first trips back. And then so that he can take the last trip back. Okay, so he took the first trip back to the school way before everyone else, because the Festival of Ancestors is like a big thing, like Kim said. It's like the Latin thing, so everyone else is out there having fun and seeing their family celebrating and stuff. Yeah, so they're not gonna leave as soon as possible. So he has to sneak out in the middle of the night. I can't even remember how he gets. Okisko helps him. That's how he gets onto the first transvect. Okisko does some kind of Okisko basically sees him off and distracts the guy so he can sneak on to the first bus because he doesn't want to be seen, obviously leaving. He takes the first one on, puts the magnet on the inside and then takes one on and then goes on. It's like a landing platform. Or Kisco and him had all they took this through, planned this out. This was well like explained throughout the book and the setup of the transvect. Yeah. So, but basically, for your purposes, there is a balcony on the outside of where he's placed the inside one. He goes outside and he holds on to that for his life.
I think even Okisco says like these magnets could rip your arm off, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They are. They're very strong.
Yeah. So like you have to do it correctly. Like so what's it called? He's obviously the speed of the transvect. It's a crazy thing he's doing, but he's risking it all because Okisco's basically going to kill him if he doesn't get anything. So he puts a beacon, drops it down. I think he puts a couple beacons, drops it down because one messes up on his way back. Anyway, so he drops it down so that when he gets back, he'll be able to put the magnet, because obviously that transvect's going up and down to the school and to the festival, like a shuttle bus. So when it's on the last one coming back, he can use his magnet from that location, because if the school, so I don't know if we've explained it, the reason why it has to be a specific location, the school has a barrier. It has a defense system. That's another reason why military is like, what's going on there? What kind of school needs a defense system like this? That if you try to penetrate this defense system, you're dead. Like you can't even see. I think when he first
I didn't actually explain that.
Yeah, when he first took the trip, you could kind of physically see a change as you pass through it. And he mentioned it. That's what gave him the idea of the kind of tools that he will need. And this is why he's dropping a beacon. So he dropped 2 beacons so that he would give himself, because Viz is a smart guy, so he'll give himself some wiggle room if he misses one, because what he's doing is physically challenging. And remember, this guy doesn't use will. When he comes back, when Kim's saying the story of the return, he will put his magnet and it will be able to suck him up, rip his arm up or suck him up to the returning one, so that he can sneak on board the transvect like he was on the last thing back. So yeah. That was that whole. I thought that was very smart, but yeah, it was. It was
the way they thought it through. I was just like, Ross. That's why
there was so many points of failure.
Yeah, well done, Donna, because that's what I said. He'll use magnetic cuffs to get back to the transvect. That was my notes. That was it. He will get back to the transvect.
He will.
He will. There we go.
Well,
that's a spoiler for you.
He's not dying yet.
This sets off with his plan and makes his way to the second ruin, and this is where he finds similar carved words like he did in the first ruin. He also sees words such as Lucium, Obiteum, Res. Viz says it out loud, and then the entrance opens, and again we have all these mutilated corpses with no eyes. So a man just appears out of nowhere and explains that the chamber contains a test, and to pass the test he must reach the exit at the far end. So it is like the labyrinth that we know about in the school, and the one that what's his face has, or Keyscore has at home. So the man offers to show Viz a demonstration. So Viz is like, okay, show me this demonstration. So he goes in, he steps forward off, I think, like a platform, and he basically gets torn apart. He gets destroyed. So Viz is shook and he's like, whoa, what's this about? I basically just saw somebody get killed. He still stood there. So a woman appears and says the same as a man and offers to demonstrate the labyrinth. But Viz is like, no, I can't watch another person get ripped apart again. And also the fact is that he is running out of time. So he heads back to the shore, and this is where he finds an injured Alapi pup. So the Alapi pup is a wolf.
I was picturing like a dire wolf, like something like that. I was just picturing a ball of cuteness.
Because when Viz was trying to go back to the shore and everything, he does get injured. I think he like hurts his leg or something, and he sees, no, not him, it was a pup. He meets this pup. He's just like, you were fine. So he meets the Alapi pup who's injured, and he feels sorry for it, and he calls the pup Diago. He gives it some food, but it's a wild dog, so it does go to nip him, and he wraps the injured leg. He's basically like, look, I'm trying to help you. He wraps the injured leg, and this puppy, or this Alapi, does come back later. Good old Diago. So Viz is able to make it back to the Transvex. So if you remember how Lola explained it, which was so much better than how I'm explaining it, he does make it back to the Transvex somehow. That's how my notes say it. He makes it back. And therefore, he makes it back to school. Full stop. Well, that's it.
And by the ducks.
He made it back.
He is safe.
He's safe. He made it back, guys. He made it back.
So that matters.
That's all that matters, exactly. How he did it, like Lola explained. So he makes it back to the school, but he does get back and he finds out that one of the 4 students hasn't made it back. The preceptor that was waiting says that this 4th student will be demoted because he missed the last ride back because it was important for you to get back for school. In the morning, we find out that the person that didn't make it back. Yep.
This was a madness because I was like, is it necessary? What Orkisco did?
I don't think it was Orkisco.
He said made to it.
Was it? I thought it was Velakia.
Oh, sorry, one of them. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Sorry. Yeah. That is a completely different story. Yeah, but I didn't think it was necessary at all.
So, because Lola's moving ahead, let me explain what happened. So, in the morning, we find out that the 4th student that hadn't made it back died by apparent suicide. So, later on, you start to find out that there were a lot of things. Because, like, here, you're just like, right, that's a bit mad. Like, why did he die? But you find out that there were a lot of things that have happened that have allowed Viz to move up in class very quickly, including this poor 4th student not making it back because he died of apparent suicide. I thought it was the Anguis people that did this, but it probably does make sense that it might have been Orkisco.
Yes, because there's also that added thing that the Anguis are also after him because only him and Esteban, and he told Sadosha that Esteban killed himself. He didn't kill Esteban. So everyone else, the Anguis thinks that this is the guy that's killed the Anguis leader. So they were expecting the Anguis to also do, because they've been doing attacks and they've been fighting back as well in the background whilst he's been at school. So he was also worried that the Anguis were after him. He basically everyone's coming for him. Basically, he just head on a swivel. So
because the 4th student has died, this means that a 5th student can move up to class 4, which means that Viz can, because he's actually the top of class 6. He should be able to move up to class 5. Unfortunately, Viz's biggest op, because remember, don't forget, this is probably the only preceptor in all of my notes that's actually named because he's such an op. So the biggest op of Viz's life is Doltatus, who's like, no, I don't want you to move up. I want somebody called Yannix to advance instead. So this leads to a duel being organised between the two. And everyone thinks that Viz will lose because Yannix is good at dueling. He'd won some tournament or something not too long ago. So everybody's looking at Viz like, boy, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So, and to be fair,
except for Viz. Viz didn't realise, he knew he was being set up, but he didn't realise how bad he was being set up.
Yeah.
So because he thought, he weighed his, Viz is very smart, so he weighed his odds,
and because he knows how to fight.
And so he's like, okay, that's not really a problem for me. It's a new fighting style, whatever. But then it turns out this guy is the world champion.
Everybody keeps saying to him, "It's like, are you sure? Fight against Yannix?" And he's just like, "Oh, okay, maybe." But he needs to do it. It's one of the ones where he has to because he needs to move up. Yeah, so everyone thinks he's going to be at disadvantage. So they're using these will imbued suits that basically manipulate empty armor, which Viz has obviously never used before, but Yannix has. So Yannix does know how to use this. So Aiden and Amisa help Viz train. And at this point, we start to see it's a bit more obvious that Amisa likes Viz. Because remember, Amisa is a 3rd. She shouldn't be hanging around with Viz like this. It's strange that she's even helping him. So even at this point, Aiden's starting to clock like, Amisa likes you, Viz. And he's just like, no, she's just being friendly. She's just being helpful. They're helping him train. He starts to understand the way that they're going to do the fight. Lola, because you seem to be able to explain these bits better. Can you explain what the fight is supposed to be?
So instead of, they put on this armor and then a skeleton armor kind of comes to life. So it's like VR, like a VR bodysuit. So when he moves, the armor moves. But it's if he gets hit, his armor that he's wearing will feel like a ton of weight, like dead weight. So he would feel he wouldn't be able to move that arm if his skeleton armor got hit in the arm. So he's trying to learn how to manipulate that, like, hand-eye coordination, as well as the physical effects of when you do get hit and circumventing that. So initially he's just trying to fight as normal. Then he realizes, hold on, I need to actually make my skeleton fight, not me. So yeah, he's getting his head around that. And then the whole time when he's talking to Aiden and they're talking about Misa, they're talking in
Primarian.
And then I could tell, because I think something else happened before, and I was like, Misa knows what they're saying. Misa knows what they're saying. But why did anyone find that suspicious? Because it was always so suspicious that he could speak it. So why is Misa? I guess because she's not.
And she's a third, family. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So the duel day arrives, and it is a tough fight for Viz because, like we've said, he's never used this armor before. Yannix has, but Yannix is also underestimating, and it's kind of those things that everybody always underestimates Viz, and it really shouldn't. So the duel is happening in front of a whole bunch of students and even some more Praeceptors, not just Deltatus. I think Viridius is here as well. And Viz is starting to do well. So he's like making some good hits, but then he starts to clock something's wrong because, like Lola says, like when your skeleton hits the skeleton, it should make these body parts that he's hitting freeze or lock up or seize up, but it's not happening. Yannix is still able to keep going. So he clocks that something's not right and that Yannix must be cheating because some of the hits he was making should have finished the duel. So it turns out that Deltatus had helped Yannix cheat by doing something to the suits or the armor that he was using. So Viz gets angry, and
at first he's again, Viz is a smart man. I'm going to keep saying this because that's the bit I appreciated, and it's not condescending. It doesn't come across like, oh, I'm so clever, I'm da-da-da. But when he does extra steps, it's like, yes, well done. So before he does that, as he's clocking, hold on, something ain't right. Like, what's going on? Okay, I get he's world champion, but this is he looks a bit like crazy. He does obvious signs to show that, hold on, look, I'm clearly hitting him, and it's having no effect on him. So slowly in the crowd, initially they're like, yeah, you're getting your ass whooped, you fought. But then after a while, the crowd starts being like, wait, hold on. Are we watching a fair fight? Like, this doesn't look like a fair fight. Teachers start being like humming and hawing, but he's like, okay, I know he's cheating, but what did I expect? Like, and the only
they even pause it at one point, don't they? They pause the fight so that they can show the armor,
and then when he hits it
works. Yeah,
because the only person that's in this crowd that's not shocked or not like what's going on is Deltatus. He's like has the best grin on his face, like he's loving this.
But even because I think it's the Praeceptor for 7th, because this woman still really likes. She really likes Viz, so because she's even looking at Deltatus like, yeah, she's looking at him like, nah, there's something weird about it, but she obviously can't figure out what it is that's weird. So carry on. Sorry.
Once he realizes, okay, look, this isn't a fair fight, that we tried to test it to prove that it's not a fair fight, he can turn it off, turn it on. So I'm just gonna have to use he's savage. Yeah,
he's like, I'll go back to basics.
Because he's been trying to be politically correct, so not
the whole time,
but like he's been like a politician, very polished. He's very aware that all eyes are on him every time. So every move he makes is always with how does it get interpreted. This time he just lost himself, and by the time the crowd realized, they're like looking at him like he's a murderer. He didn't kill him, but everyone was a little bit.
He knocks him unconscious. He actually knocks him out, to the point where I think even he thinks like,
he went too far.
He went back to his greased up days. So
so I guess we did see it again. We did see it again.
Yeah, he went back to his greased up days. So with all that said, he does make it into class 5 because he wins. We move on to Calidus, who starts questioning Viz about his background, because obviously, like we've said, it's obvious that something's not quite right about Viz's story of being an orphan picked up by a senator and being adopted and brought into the academy. And Viz is starting to feel guilty about not being able to tell Calidus the truth, but he's kind of like, I can't tell you. So he kind of gives something to Calidus just to appease him. He doesn't go into too much detail, but he makes it out as if that he's one of a senator's illegitimate children, and but it can't be known that he's an illegitimate child in this. So
Which he
that
is.
kind of
Well, not an illegitimate, but he is kind of like someone's famous's child. It can't
yeah,
be known.
yeah, yeah. So to be fair, this does appease Calidus for the moment. This is when Calidus tells Viz about the mystery behind class 3 and 4 students disappearing, and the fact that this is one of the reasons why he dropped out of class 3, because he's like, I don't want to die. So again, we have Calidus drip feeding Viz. And I think it's probably, if we come from the author's point of view, it's probably to push the story along, give a little bit of a teaser of the things going on in the background. But for Calidus, it's bloody annoying. Like, just tell me what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So
especially when we found out what it was, I was like, okay, this was something we could really have. I mean, Aiden told us his big secret. Like, you could have told us like a long time ago.
So we have Viz going to class 5, which is obviously harder, but the teacher is better. And he carries on, but I think he swiftly moves on to class 4. Like, he's not in class 5 for too long. I think the class 5 teachers,
class 4 is when it starts to get hard for him. But up until then, his royal education was enough to help push him through.
So moving on to class 4. So Viz meets the class 4 preceptor, who explains that it's all good and well that Viz is smart, but he needs to make friends with people in his own class and be more sociable. Because remember, he keeps hanging around with Calidus and Iden. Calidus is in 7, Iden is in 6. So he's just like, you need to make friends with the people in your class. So he tries to make friends with them.
No, but at first so this touches on. So remember, I said this has this running background narrative about the Republic and what it means in the system. So this is when he's like, "Rah, so I can't just play the game. I have to. They really want to brainwash me, because it's basically like, oh, I can only talk to people on my level, which is the whole thing about the hierarchy and the will, and how the people at the top benefit of the many at the bottom. So he's like, in the beginning, he does try and do that to win favor, but he's like, that's not going to work either. He has some back and forth about what it means, because his family died fighting against the Republic. So he's like, it's a bigger thing for him to succumb to the Republic. And before that, his dad was always warning him of how things will go, even to the point that the situation in the Republic is in now. The father saw that, okay, once there's no one else to conquer, they're going to try and conquer each other, and so that system isn't stable. It's quite fragile, and nothing to be believed in, because they were trying to brainwash it like this is the new way of civilized living, and all the people that live the old way are villagers, kind of thing. So he's got a lot of back and forth going around constantly about, is he a coward? What does it mean to be in a republic? What is using will? And then this academy is all about building these people that will, because everyone, like I said, in this school becomes someone, even if you're in the lower classes. So it's about building those people on the outside that will instill this culture of the class system and not mingling. So the fact that when you get to class 4, it's not just about ticking the boxes, like you actually have to play the role, believe in it. Like now they're starting to do the brainwashing and conditioning. You can get, even obviously if the higher up classes get the best roles. So, and I think that's what pushes him to do something, because he got really annoyed that he has to now sit and talk to them, although he does do it.
I was gonna say he does. He joins them.
Yeah.
But he still talks to those people, but he does join them because, and I think the other thing to bear in mind is that he needs to get to the top. So if this is what the preceptor is telling him he needs to do to get to the top, then, because remember, Amisa says the only way you're going to get up in your classes is if you, if the preceptors like you. So he's like, yeah, okay, I have to do what I do. And I think at that point he goes to sit with the Force, cutting their lunch, and they kind of they tolerate him because Equa, I think, is in 4th. Equals in 4th, isn't she? Yeah. So she's there. So he tries to make friends with them, but
someone in class 3, sorry, I can't remember who it was. Ero, that's it, thank you. And he was an I name. Thank you. So he's basically told, if you talk to this guy, like, because even when he went to class 6, they wanted to talk to him. I can't remember why they wanted to talk to him. And he's like, nah. Oh, because they found out he was good at foundation. They wanted to talk to him, and he was like, nah, nah. So he went back and started sitting with Calidus. So yeah, there was and even when Amisa would walk up to him in front of people, people would be looking at her like, "What are you doing?" Especially because Eroy is like some big guy. I can't remember who he was.
I don't know, but I didn't take too much stock in him
Mm,
because you don't really hear about him too much until we get to
the
the
end and
end.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
So moving on. So like we said, he's in fourth. And I don't know how this. I can't remember how this happens, but like Lola says when she was talking about Iro, somebody called Indol. He's the third. He's a third student with Amisa and somebody called Belly. And he comes over to invite Viz and some of the fourth to train with him, his summer residence in Seuss, which is Viz's hometown, which has now been occupied by the Republic. Do you remember how this happened? Because I was a bit confused. I was like, why is Indol asking him to come over?
It was this thing that it's like a special treat and like a holiday because his hometown's a beautiful place. So he was like, "Oh yeah, do you want to come to this villa with class free? We're going on a
Mm,
summer holidays. Most people go home or whatever." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure. So I can find out tea." And then yeah,
mm,
it's just at this place. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's Seuss. So that's when he was
mm.
like, "Fuck, are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's
Going
done
back
he's
to
done
my home.
everything but go back there. So it's like
Mm,
he would definitely be recognized there. This is what he's thinking. He'll definitely be recognized there. How can they not recognize me? And then all the trauma that he's been
mm.
avoiding.
Okay, perfect. So this is supposed to happen after, again, guys, another festival. So get into the festival. So the festival is before this summer trip. So we get to the festival and he meets up with Reliquia. Remember, Reliquia is Sedocia. I should probably say Sedocia. They're both the same person. And this is where we confirm. See, this is what I was going to say. This is where we confirm that she handled the killing of the fourth student.
Yeah, when he was spying on her, he follows
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
So she's actually, because you know earlier we were talking about maybe it was Oki's school, but it was actually Reliquia that got rid of the poor fourth
Yeah,
student
you're
that
right.
didn't make it back to the school. So he tries to threaten her because he's like, you can't keep killing people just so that I can get an upper hand. So if you keep doing this, I'm going to tell people about you. And I did think this, babes, this, you don't really have any leverage here.
I did like
Um,
this. I did like this. Force her hand because her hand was, I will tell people who you really are. That's how
mm,
initially this is because actually we skipped a bit, but when they were at the Festival of Ancestors, Rukia actually did tell him, like, look, you think Score's got a plan? He ain't got no plan. This is my plan.
mm,
Like
mm,
she didn't know it was going to work so well, to be honest. And that's why there's been little holes and why she had to shoot down the transfix. But
mm.
she planned for Okisko to adopt him and
Me,
put him in
yeah.
this school.
Mm.
So she's been
Because
playing this long game.
talking about that, going back, when he's fighting in the
The
ring
pit
when
in the
he's all
first,
like
yeah,
greased
when we
up,
first met him.
she was there. She
Hmm.
was there, like, and which is why when she meets him, so she thinks that actually Reliquia and Okisko in the beginning were working together because she was a bit like, why did he now come to the orphanage to adopt him after that fight? So that's where he thought that they worked together. So yeah, you're right. She's been setting this up
Mm.
from the beginning to get, and she's probably like, this is the only way I would be able to get him into the school because he
Mm.
needs to be adopted by a senator so that he can get into the school. So yeah, Lola's right. But yeah.
So yeah, there's been so when he because he's like, okay, I can't, there's too much going on, like we said. When he purposely goes to meet her, yeah, he wanted to find out about, oh, stop killing and all this stuff, because he had a feeling that, look, I'm moving, yeah, I'm moving up, but I'm moving up a bit too. Seem like things just luckily fall into
Like
place.
things
Like, I'm
happen
clever,
and
but I'm
then I
not that
move up.
clever. Yeah. So he goes to challenge her about that, but then his main thing was to follow her. So when he follows her, he finds out more information. And that's when he realized this is all shambles. Like like even her he doesn't really understand what he's overhearing, but he realizes because he's going to do the same thing at Seuss. Well, I think that was under instruction, but he's going to do the same thing at Seuss, and then he starts putting things together. That look, this is chaos. Like he is in a pile of mess. Everyone's trying to use him as their pawn for some whatever reason. Well, we know why Riluki and Kisco both trying to, because it was all Riluki's plan. So yeah, there was, but you also see as well in this part that Kisco and Riluki are a match made in heaven, even if this is a superficial marriage, because she is willing to force this guy to do whatever.
Yeah, she don't care if he dies
her
either.
motives, yeah, I don't think her motives are like what is her motive? I don't really get why you need him. Why can't you do all of this stuff? I really don't get it. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand the Angus's plan. I get O'Keefe's his love for his brother, but I don't really understand why
like, what's
they
the
think
end?
they need him. Yeah,
because they're basically saying like, we need you to become top student and get into the pyramid, one of the pyramid. I don't know, but it's like, okay, so when he
Rulikia's is
gets
a
in there, what's he gonna
long-term
do?
plan. Yeah,
Yeah, she's
it's
like,
not like you can
you're
do what
out
you want
in.
after school. Yeah,
You're out in. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of like what, but I guess maybe in the second book we'll find out more information about what her thoughts were. Yeah, so he visits like, look, I need you to help me to get out of this situation. I can't end up in Seuss. That's too obvious. I'm gonna get in trouble. And turns out, like Lola says, Reliquia has set this shit up as well. She's like, I need you to go to Seuss because there's a military senators meeting, which includes O'Keefe's, and I need you to eavesdrop on this meeting. So that's why you'll go back to your hometown where you could get caught, and also we'll have flashbacks of everything that's going on with you. Okay, babes? It's like, this.
No one gives a damn if he falls apart as long as he gets to the back.
Just been thrown for blood. Just right. And she actually, at this instance, because he's just like, look, what if I don't do it? And she's like, if you don't, I'll kill one of your friends. So you know, he's just like, rah, like he's finally made some friends.
And that was his feeling, like, oh my god, I finally made some friends. He loves having friends now.
Yes.
Like, because the poor boy's been so lonely.
He's been fighting this cold world on his own. He just wants to go to Chatier. That's all he wants to do. So after their meeting, he heads back to the group. And on the way, he notices two men are following him. So he's thinking, like, they must be part of the Anguis. They're going to attack him for what, like Lola was saying, that he did to Esteban. So
he had followed her and eavesdropped on his thing. So he thought, oh, when he left, he didn't cover his tracks well enough.
Yeah.
Because there was bugs on his clothes. I think we skipped that. But he was being tracked. She was by Reliquia.
Oh, I didn't. I skipped that because I don't remember that. So they attack him. And I can't remember what they say to him when they attack him. And this is when the fourth Praeceptor, aka Skytus, is what you were saying his name is, turns up with Equa. And we find out that this is all a setup to push Viz to use Will. So Equa set this up because she thinks that he can't be doing so well unless he's cheating by using Will. And remember, you can't use Will as a student. So she had convinced the fourth teacher that, look, I think Viz is cheating. I think he's using Will. So, and to be fair, even this teacher, you heard this student say, we're going to hire these two guys to beat this kid up just to find out whether he's cheating.
This is
the teacher. I would have been like, Equa,
how does Equa, this was so random. How does Equa have this guy in her pocket like this? That is madness. Wild. Yeah.
Well, that's teacher.
And
you're an adult.
And I think her thing was like he must have used some kind of special Will. I think because
she's been silent for time.
Yeah. And then on the way there, she was asking weird questions because again, it was like a school trip. So on the way there, she was like, she was a little bit nicer. I think I remember because straight away, I think they were talking about this Seuss trip. So. She was a little bit nicer, but when he was trying to go and see Reliquia, this woman was like, she low-key made me laugh though, because he kept trying to shake her. She was like, no, we're going together. He's like, no, I just want to do the lad thing. Yeah, you girls can go somewhere else. The lad, he's like, nah.
We need to stay as a group.
And I was like, this girl is so, but at this point, I was like, okay, she's tickling me because she's actually like a dog with a bone. And I actually don't think she's doing it for her dad. I think she was just so like, I need to find out. Yeah.
And also, if you think in her position, she's like we have said, every time some shit happens, my guy came to school, he was in 7th, yeah? He is now in 4th. Do you like, how has he moved up? And she's still in 4th. And when they first met, she was a bit annoyed about being in 4th because I think she was sick. That's the only reason she wasn't able to make it into 3rd. So she's looking at this kid just come out of the slums, being adopted by O'Keefe's and make it all the way up into her class. So she's like, nah, something's weird about you and I will find this out. And she was able to manipulate the 4th teacher, who is an adult in this situation, to get these two hired people to attack a kid.
I do think they'll be cute together because there was a point where she wants to like him, but there's too much confusing stuff about him.
She's like,
And
I don't
then
trust you.
yeah, so but when they have one-on-one moments, she will soften, and she can't help it. So there was one bit where he was like, "Oh, I'll talk to you." She was like, "Oh, once we get there, we can't. When we get to the academy, we can't talk. Like you've broken me down, but we ain't talking." He's like, "Don't worry, I'll talk to you when we're in class 4." And she thought this was hilarious. So the fact that he has climbed to class 4, she's stick to her stomach. That actually drove her a little bit cuckoo. So this was out of character for her, but she just couldn't get over the fact that how the hell did you get on my level?
Yeah, how did you make it to my class, bro? Obviously, this happens, and Viz doesn't use will because he's like, he doesn't want to use will. So, unfortunately for Iqua,
he knows how to. I don't think he knows how to. He's never done it.
Yeah, so he's just like, it didn't even cross his mind that he would need to use will. So all of this happening makes Iqua look bad to everybody because everybody clocks on like Iqua's mad. Like,
well,
she's actually insane.
Away, she was very apologetic. She's like,
she was.
I look crazy. This is insane. Yeah. What have I done?
She's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to get you beat up by 2 random people and involve the preceptor of the 4th class. So, but I'm really sorry. So they head back to the academy after the festival, and Viz sees Calidus walking with Belly, and he's just like, put a pin in that. That's weird. Like, something romantic must be going on. They're walking around together, and they're in very deep discussions. And that is how part 2 ends. Pew, 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 pew. What are your thoughts, Lola?
So, part 1, I was like, okay, I'm here for this story. I wonder where we're going with this. So part 1's kind of slow. Not slow, but it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of detail. We're just finding out about the Republic and all of that stuff, and all the way of the Lettons, I think the place is called, the way of the land of Lettons and the orphanage and all of that stuff. And then boom, part 2, you're now in the academy. It's a completely different story. The pace is slightly quicker. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more tension. There's a lot more things to like, Easter eggs, that's the word, to look out for. So you start being, okay, where are we going? So this was when I was like, okay, what is the plot of the book? And there's little hints throughout the thing. As we're breaking it down, it's like, yeah, there was hints to where the story was going throughout the thing, like the fact that everyone has dual names and double lives and secret missions.
Like everybody's got
and all
secrets.
Of that. Yeah.
So you kind of start looking at everybody sideways, like even like Indo asking him to come to Seuss. Like, I was just like, why do you want him to come to Seuss?
Why are you so nice?
Yeah, like, this is weird. Even Calidus, I was side-eyeing Calidus. I was like, because you keep drip feeding us stuff.
I did more than Calidus. Yeah, I was same. Calidus was too slimy for me. And he, like, give me a reason, but stop telling me about why you're in the bottom class and just being weird and reading all these books to show you're clearly smart. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I think that the way he's taking us through the book. What you don't, also breaking it down, stuff in the beginning does matter later on, which it felt reading it like the book just changed once you got to the academy a little bit.
Yeah, it was like part 1, part 2.
But I think it's just, I'm hoping a lot of the stuff that, because there was some stuff that just never got explained.
Resolved.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it is well-rounded, and he's written, because to write this book and then the second book 2 years later, I'm hoping it was written all at once and he's just breaking it up for release and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was really good. And then the twist, so like we were saying in the beginning, the tropes are cliche, but it's not cliche. So we have this running background narrative of what it means to be a coward, what it means to be patriotic or whatever. And then you also have this talk about the Republic, the system that we have, the hierarchical system. I think there was a quote like, oh, fair systems can't exist where people are involved. So this was when
Calidus said this as well, when he was pissed off with Diltatus.
Yeah, because also him and Calidus also frequently have political discussions, and then but Calidus is more of a devil's advocate, whereas Iden has a clear stance on he hates the Republic. Then you have this other hidden thing of the friendship, which was nice. It was refreshing seeing him finally go away
Make
from that
friends.
solitary character and have a community and actual people that you don't, even though, yeah, we're side-eyeing Calidus, but if you wanted to, you can blow that guy down like a leaf. Like, so I
It's
wasn't
true.
really worried for him to foster a relationship with Calidus. The women now, I was suspicious about Amisa, because when we first meet her, she drugs him. So it's like he never questions her about this, obviously because he doesn't want to show his hand. But next thing
But
you know,
also
they're just
because I don't
flirting.
think he knows about the drugging.
He does. Remember, Key Scott said, "Who gave you the water?" And he's like, "Damn, I should have known." But he had just woken up. So,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then he was, because he even wondered why he was talking so much to Viridius when he first met him. So that's
Yeah,
why they put two and two together. So yeah, it's the women are stronger characters a little bit, but like they're very interesting. When we finally realized that Reliquia is the Dosha, oh, my mind was blown. My mind was blown. I was like, no, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, a good twist. It does make sense, and it does tie things in together. Like all the arrow, how she knew how to, because remember, she takes his blood to make the weapon to kill Esteban. So this is what I'm thinking. She had something on that blood, because there was no way you can get a Magnus Quintus down. So she, and obviously, if you're her his wife, you would have access to his blood without easily to get an arrow to shoot him
Yes.
down, because that's what was bugging
Yes.
Viridius. How did someone take a Magnus Quintus down?
Yes. Yes. Look at that round circle.
And then Amisa and Diago is clearly supposed to be like the love interest, but I'm all for Iqua and Diago if there has to be. But it's not obvious. It's not like, okay, you know how sometimes they always have to feel like they put a love interest in there. It's not like that. It's like, okay, he's a young boy, he's gonna flirt with a pretty girl. So that's kind of the vibe it's giving. But you can tell as she keeps putting herself in front of him, she's starting to grow on him. Because at this point, I'm like anti-Amisa. I'm like, nah, she keeps popping up, putting herself in front of him too conveniently and being all sweet and nice. And, oh, let me help you sweep the stables. Oh, let's flirt. She could
There's
genuinely
something
like him.
strange. Yeah. It's strange.
She could genuinely like him, but it was it felt too superficial. Iqua, on the other hand, she is, like I said, she's being a tsundere and she's trying not to like him, but she's clearly got some kind of affinity for him. I won't say affection, but she's clearly got some kind of affinity for him. Because even when she concedes, she feels really gutted and she kind of tries to catch up to him and just make sure that they're okay. Like it's not going to be weird, which Viz takes it on the chin. So yeah, which obviously, like, because even Kim playing him back and saying like she got two people to beat him up. What if he couldn't defend himself? That could have ended very badly.
It's a wild way to do it. A wild way.
Because he was being stalked down that alleyway and then he basically got jumped. So yeah, it did look like an Angus attack, to be honest. So I know we're not supposed to like Iqua, but but once I was like, I don't think this is for her dad. I don't think her dad's directed her to do anything. I think
man's
she's
just minding his own business. He's like, I told you to be on his side.
Yeah, I think she's supposed to get intel and feed back, but I don't even think she's feeding it back at this point. So I was like, okay, I do kind of like her. Yeah, like the whole thing with Calidus and Belly as well. So like I said, with the romantic thing with Viz and Amisa, the same thing was happening with Calidus and Belly. So when they did this trip to this marketplace or wherever they are, where they're playing games, it's like a bonfire night. That's the way I was looking at it. Or fair. So when they went to this place where it's nighttime, so when they went to this thing, they invited Belly and Calidus, and they kind of made an excuse to both stay. So there was like little trickles before that point at the end where we see them walking in hush that they were pretending like they were hating each other. Well, this is how we were taking it, like, oh, they pretended that they hated each other, but they were having a secret love affair. But it was just like some kind of background thing, because they would always argue. They would randomly bicker. They would Belly would randomly say snide remarks about Calidus. Calidus would always like make a snide remark about Belly, but we just thought, they have a crush on each other and they don't want to say it because he's the bottom of the barrel and Belly's like not the most. Yeah, she's not the most likable girl. So that's how we were taking it. But when he saw them walking across the courtyard, he thought they looked like they were having a discussion about something very straight. It didn't look like a lover's quarrel or someone sneaking
Mm.
off, it looked weird. So that was the context of, okay, wait, is this? Because I was like, okay, Calidus and Benny is suspicious, borderline. I at this point I was like, okay, Calidus can't be trusted. This is when I was like, oh no, Calidus is down with him, man. We lost him. So I wasn't sure where to go. With Calidus, I didn't really care, but I was thinking, oh, is he gonna be that friend that snakes you? Like, oh, so annoying. But yeah. So yeah, I was like, okay, when we get to part 2, I'm like, where are we going? I'm liking this ride, but where are we going? And then he still has that added thing of what is religion doing? We still have that whole question in the background. So, and what happened to Zero? And then you are supposed to, I feel like this, you are supposed to like Viridius. But Viridius shows you too many signs of him being clearly evil.
Okay.
That I'm like, I don't know. Because the way he talks to him is like, or the way he's described to me is like a sociopath. Like very, very charming, but something's very weird.
Very snaky, like it's very slinky in my eyes.
But I think you're supposed, I don't know, because you said you started to like him. I never liked him though. Even at the end, I still think he's in the wrong. I'm hoping he's...
I just feel like he's another person that needs Viz to do something, especially in the end.
But he was, I don't think he needs Viz. I think he needs anyone, isn't it? He's been trying to get anyone.
Who, Viridius?
Oh, yeah, we'll save that for the next episode. I was going to say, what were your thoughts?
Oh, my thoughts. Yeah, innit, because you was like, it's weird because I've done plot points. Well, so I quite like how we are speeding up. I felt like this chunk, this part was like giving us a bit more detail. So for example, we learn more about Viz's background and where he came from. The fact that he was going to Seuss was stressing me out as well. I was just like, what? Like, you know, when you just like, Reliquia, I can see that you planned this, but is this a smart thing to do? Like, anything can go wrong here. So that's when I was a bit like, oh, I don't know about this. And also, I do feel like the women in this book, and I feel like I saw some reviews kind of like slagging off the way he portrays women in this book, but I think he portrayed them well, because they kind of slag it off as like, oh, you know,
all the bad characters.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
it wasn't until I was just saying it,
characters.
Yeah, they're more developed. It's the same way that we like villains more because they're more. They put more into villains. But yeah, it wasn't until I was just saying it just now that I realized, yeah, most of the women are bad characters, and then all the men are quite likable. So yeah, there is a little bit of that. But then there's Lancia. She's not problematic.
Exactly. Yeah,
and Reliquia's not problematic. It's just Sadosha.
Well, they're the same person. But I just think that,
and I think I love Equa. Actually,
yeah, I don't mind the way they're portrayed, and some of the men are annoying as well. You've got Deltatus, that's a dickhead. You've got Keyscore, who I don't like personally. You keep saying Errol, he's not important, babes, and I don't think in this say this poor guy. He's actually not important. I think in my notes, the first time I talk about him isn't until the Eutychium. But
from the start, he's trickled throughout. There's like he's always been a little trying to be a bully, but you're right. Even Viz is not really paying him no mind.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, oh, Israel. But yeah, even Keyscore, I don't really like him because I do think, I don't. I think
I love that blind passion for his brother, but I hope it's just that. I don't think it's just that though. I think
the reason why I don't like him and the blind passion is he's not seeing. He's very tunnel visioned about it, and he's gonna get himself hurt. Like the same way he got hit by this arrow.
Because he's got no backing. Yeah,
exactly. He's not. The only person that's backing him is Lannister, and maybe there's some other people we don't know. We haven't met them yet, but I do think he's too tunnel visioned about it, and I think that the symbolism of that arrow and the person that's actually coming for him, or that set this whole thing being his wife, shows how narrow-minded he is. So that's why
I think he knows a lot more than he's letting on, because he keeps dropping hints like, be careful about her. Oh, you don't really know her. Oh, she acts all bubbly, but
you felt the same. We feel the same about Amisa. That's just a normal thing to be like.
No, about Reliquia. he keeps saying, remember when you meet her, he's like, oh yeah, she's when you meet my wife, be careful about her because she acts lovely, but she's a no
She's
nonsense woman.
smarter. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
smarter.
So I don't
Mm.
know. I don't think he underestimates her at all. That's why I'm like,
Mm.
and he knows too much. Like you said, he had the exact labyrinth that you get tested on. That he was scared
True.
to send those ghost people. It's like, why would you know that that's the key thing to solving your brother's murder when you never were at
Mm.
the academy when it happened, and Lannister can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, fair. Fair. Fair, maybe. But I still don't like him. But
Mm.
yeah, so I do appreciate this part. I do feel like
Yeah.
one thing that's quite jarring is I do think there's been quite a big change in Viz's character. So in the first part, he's this lone wolf, that's trying to struggle through life, that's been abused, his family life. And then you get him into school and he's this sociable, well, not sociable, but
He's
he's able to
not
put
though.
on this character. And I was just like,
I
oh,
liked that
it's
because
like two people.
but so he was at so yeah, this was what I liked though, because normally he would stay that role until book two and then he would start being like, okay, now I can trust and all of this rubbish.
Mm,
But at this point, remember, so his up until then, he hadn't even engaged. He wouldn't
mm,
ever even put himself in a situation where he can build a relationship.
mm,
Like he was working at the pit. He had that guy that run the books, but they weren't like friendship. Then he had that
mm.
old man at the prison, but it wasn't again a friendship. So he's never actually. And then at the orphanage, he's too old. They're all
Yeah,
um
he's the oldest, isn't he?
because he's not using will, so he never gets picked up and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think he was alone, not by choice. He ran
Mm,
away, and then he had to live a life of the first couple. This is what he's explaining when he's at the Festival of Ancestors, kind of thing. Like he's ran away, he's had to live this life of solitude so that people won't recognize who he is because it was straight after the Republic took over. And then after a while, okay, time's gone on. He's a kid. He was a kid then. Now he's grown up. He's got more mature features. He kind of looks a bit different. He can probably go out in the public, but he hadn't done it yet. So this is his first time
mm,
actually stepping out. Because that's why I had to keep reminding myself. And I kept seeing a couple reviews about that they're actually kids. Like
mm.
they're actually such. He's 16 or 17. Sorry, he's
It's a
just a
cliche
kid.
for all of these books. It's always kids doing some mad
Mm,
shit like this. Like it's
yeah,
always like Harry
but he's
Potter. All
but
of
he's
these books
very
got.
mature. So
Mm,
you kind of forget about that. So yeah, then now he's gone to this academy. He's like, oh, I finally got to be around other kids my age. And he's
mm,
saying it like, oh, I want to have a friend. This is what like I need to be able to talk to someone. And he wanted to confide
mm,
in Calidus, but he realized Calidus has too many rules up. So when he got to confide in Iden, that's it. He's locked in. It wasn't like he
mm,
was just sociable with everyone, trying to be like, oh, the life of the party and at the school. He didn't give a f about that. He just needed to do something. Get, like you said, get to know people, because that woman was like, no, you have to be catting down to your blood and because he was being a loner. So I don't think his
mm.
personality changed too much. Actually, personally, I think that the tone of it changed because the book definitely did change from someone trying to survive to us figuring out
Yeah, okay. I
that.
get that probably
Yeah,
is a better way to describe it because it is it feels like a different book from part one to part two.
yeah, definitely.
And
Which
I
I
think
was
part two and
so
three, I think to be fair,
better
even
book.
part three is different because the end of part
Yeah,
three, you're just like, the hell?
yeah, it's a
What the
completely different
helly?
book again.
It's,
So yeah, and I think you won't like, some people, you either like it or you don't, because it is
mm,
parts. It is very
mm,
clear parts. Because when I was reading part one, I was like, okay, how are we doing 700 pages of this? But it's okay, it's well written, and I liked it straight away. But I was like, oh, where's this story
yeah,
going for
yeah. Where's it
700
going?
pages when it's
Mm,
part one? Part
yeah.
two, I could start to see how it's 700 pages,
Hmm.
and then I appreciated the slowness of part one. But and then part three, like you said, then that curveball, and I think some people might not like that.
Yeah.
But I was reading another book that was at a similar length to this, and I didn't actually realize how much. So, because half of the people in the book club didn't finish it, and then one other person finished it. Well, half, most of them didn't finish it, and then one other person finished
What?
it. She was like,
Finish this other book?
yeah, this other book.
Yeah.
So in my head, it was like part one and part two, like that. But part one was like 80% of the book, and that was very slow. And then the
Mm,
last like 20% of the book was like crazy. So if you never got to that stage, The book was they had a completely different vibe of the book. So I think that's a risk with doing such chunky books with different tones, like he's done with part 1, part 2, part 3. Because if you like, okay, I don't really know where this is going. This is quite slow. Is it going to be like this? And then you DNF it. Luckily, I don't think a lot of people did, but yeah, the it being such drastically different, I can see why some people didn't like it, because especially if you don't go all the way.
Yeah. Fair.
And so you didn't like it, or it's just
a niggle.
Yeah,
because it was a bit like, I was like, okay. It kind of is unsettling because you feel like you know what the vibe of the book is, and then you get to the next part and you're just like, oh, okay, this is a different vibe, and then you get to the next one, you're like, what? It is,
but that's
kind
what I
of
enjoyed.
Jarring.
It was subtle twists, but yeah, they might be jarring twists.
The ending was jarring. Like, that's jarring. The more and more I think about it, the more and more annoyed I get.
It went in a direction that I loved.
I'm just glad that the second book is out, or else that would have pissed me off even more. Can you imagine if you read that and then you're just like, what? How are we ending like this? And then you're waiting for a second book. That would have pissed me off. I would have probably given it a lower rating.
I would have to find out where he lived and rent a person. So what's going on?
Put the laptop in front of him, like, let's get to work.
So what's next?
Gosh. Alrighty. So that was part 2 of the book. Part 3 will be in the final episode that we will be releasing. So make sure you stay tuned. So we're gonna go on to, I think we are gonna go on to Pick a Mix. So the way I edit it, if this bit's too long, we might not even have Pick a Mix, but we'll do Pick a Mix.
I feel like this one should be an hour. I was thinking about it because we did 2, and then a lot of it was talking.
1 hour later.
Hi, editing Kim here again. So it was definitely not an hour that we were chatting for. So I'm going to cut the episode or the chatting there, and we're going to go straight to the outro. Thank you. I think we can round up the episode 7B. We do have 7C coming up, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We are enjoying this, and part 3 ramps the hell up. So we need you guys to like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things, because if you don't,
cost you.
Lola will cost you. Yeah, right. Bye, guys.